Hello and thank you for joining me. My name is Alan and today's video, I didn't mean it to be clickbaity, but I do believe we are at war. Asymmetrical warfare. Let's crack on. Asymmetrical warfare is basically irregular warfare, and some of the components are that an enemy will focus on vulnerabilities. They will target enemies' weaknesses where they are less prepared or vulnerable to conventional attacks. Psychological warfare is seeking to demoralise and undermine public support, and the use of technology, cyber attacks and the use of social media to spread propaganda. Now, as of today, which is Sunday the 11th of May, there has been IT issues at Stansted Airport, and apparently another substation has mysteriously caught fire, which I believe is in the Exeter area, which makes it for this month, I believe. Prior to the recent events of these mysterious fires, substations very rarely caught fire. So yes, I could have my tinfoil hat on, but it does appear to me that things are happening much more frequently than they ever did. Let's have a look at some examples. So in October 2022, Shetland subsea cables were cut. Fishing vessel believed to be the culprit. However, Colonel Philip Ingram MBE, he cites fake Russian fishing boats as the cause. The cables that cut were not only power cables, they were communication cables. It caused internet outages and problems with the banking system on Shetland. April 2023, and forgive me if I don't pronounce this correctly, Admiral Vladimirsky, which is a research stroke spy ship, was seen and basically caught mapping subsea cables and wind farms in the North Sea. And now for a slightly different take, for those that can remember the Stockport incident, where a lowlife decided to take a knife and kill a number of children. Well, that was in August 2024, I believe, and Pakistani police arrested and charged a Pakistani man for cyber terrorism. He was using social media to claim that the Stockport murderer was a Muslim asylum seeker to add fuel to the street protests and civil unrest. Now, who would expect a Pakistani in Pakistan to be winding up the so-called right-wing element in the UK when there was a civil disorder following the cowardly attacks on the children? So it just proves that there are people out there, whether they're state-sponsored or just complete bellends, that have got no better purpose than to troll and to deal with fake propaganda and news through social media as a means to undermine society in this country. And we'll go back to that in a while. February 2025, Barclays, Lloyds and Halifax banking outage. Caused loads of drama because a lot of the general population don't carry cash. So whilst they had money in the bank, they were unable to make purchases of shopping and other essentials because they couldn't get their money out, or they couldn't use an electronic method to pay it. So there's lessons to be learned there. Keep some cash for an emergency. Then March 2025, a fire at an electrical substation that serves Heathrow Airport that is still under investigation, and the cause is still unknown. And as I said at the beginning of this video, there's been another substation fire in Exeter, I believe it was. And of course, Stansted IT outage. And then we've got various cyber attacks against businesses, Marks and Spencer's, Co-op, Harrods, The Works, WH Smith's and JD Sports, just to name a few. And I appreciate that there's going to be a criminal element out there that wants to carry out ransomware attacks to line their own pockets. but I do believe that there is a large proportion of these attacks are state-sponsored. The UK National Cyber Security Centre has said, we are not yet in a position to say a single actor is responsible. Banks are unlikely to admit to a cyber attack due to the potential to harm reputation or acknowledging that they are vulnerable. And the same can be said for government. The UK government is unlikely to publicly admit to a major cyber attack, especially if it's state-sponsored or involves sensitive information. So what can we personally do? Well, the first thing we can do is we can prepare. Hasn't got to be mad doomsday prepping, but we need to acknowledge that things are not right in the world. There are plenty of cesspit countries out there that want to cause us harm by whatever means they can. And if you have a prepared nation, then that mitigates the damage that they can cause. If they want to switch off the electricity, I'm not saying that Spain and Portugal and part of France was due to a cyber attack. We will probably never know, or at least not for many years to come. But if someone wants to do that in the UK and switch the juice off for perhaps up to 24 hours, it's going to cause loads of drama, cost lots of money, and potentially cost lives if there are people on electrical equipment that's keeping them alive and they haven't got adequate generators or whatever. But if you've got a population that is prepared and just sees a power outage as a minor hiccup, then the enemy aren't getting what they want. So we need to prepare. Part of your preps needs to involve cash. Haven't got to have thousands, perhaps just a couple of hundred. If you've got the money in the bank, take some out of the bank, keep it somewhere secure at home. That way, if there is a banking outage or there are problems, then there is a possibility, though not guaranteed, that you can make your essential purchases with cash. The other thing we need to do is promote disaster preparedness. Every time the UK government release a document or a statement or a website promoting disaster preparedness, the prepper community on YouTube, instead of saying that that isn't enough or coming out with the what do they know that we don't, because let's face it, the government, if you like them or not, is immaterial. They should know a hell of a lot more than us. The UK security services is one of the best in the world, so I expect them to know lots more than us. It could be that they're pushing, as is most of Europe, that we prep for a minimum of 72 hours, which, let's face it, would have got everyone in Spain and Portugal through that power cut with the least amount of upset. And as I said, if people have prepared, if we have a prepared nation, then it is better. The results for the enemy are less. So instead of saying when these government agencies say that they're updating their war plans or that everyone should prepare, how about we actually promote what they're saying and try and push it forward? If you've got someone that's new to preparedness that's come along because they've seen this information about the 72-hour kits, etc., then we need to promote it and nurture them, not jump on it and say that's no good, you need 3 months, 6 months or whatever, because a lot of people then are going to just walk away from it. So let's try and keep it realistic. Do the 72 hours and promote disaster preparedness within the community, and then we're going to have a good grounding. Some people will let it fall by the wayside because they lose interest. Other people will get an interest and it will grow. And that's what we need to do, is to promote it. And we also need to be mindful of what's on social media. YouTube channels. There was a recent video, I think it was a UK prepper, I can't remember, I apologise, that done a video about Keir Starmer's war plan, so to speak. It's about time. They probably binned it in '92. We should have war plans. We should be prepared as a country and we should be looking at civil defence, but that's for another day. Some of the comments in that video was, for instance, there was one that said, you can't even, or we can't, I can't remember the exact wording, you can't, we can't even protect our borders. So that was going down the lines of what's the point in preparing because we can't protect our borders. I clicked on the person that made that comment. It was something like Dotty Day 123, so I'll assume it's female. The YouTube channel was 2 weeks old. There was no other information, no location or anything like that. And I know there's an element of privacy on YouTube, but I automatically suspected, is that person who they really claim to be, or is that whoever, wherever, just trying to stir the pot and pour fuel on the fire? So please don't encourage the comments. If they're a comment and it's, how can I put it? We know what state the UK's in. I didn't vote for the current government, but a hell of a lot of people did because they got into power. If someone wants to badmouth the UK, I will defend it regardless of who the government is because it is my home, my family and my friends. Armed forces have been run down, police forces run down, NHS run down. Everything's been run down. But if someone wants to have a pop about them, I will defend them because it is my country and I see it partly as my right to defend the UK irrespective. So please, if you see the comments that are quite obviously there for no other reason other than to troll or undermine, then just think back to this video. Is it a real person who's got an interest, or is it just someone who's there because they're either paid to or they've got a mental health problem from another country that just wants to stir hatred, pour fuel on the fire, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that's it. I hope it's relatively short and sweet. I do believe we're at war. Luckily, there are no bullets and bombs and people are not necessarily dying. But the asymmetrical warfare element that I described at the beginning, I truly believe is happening. I love my country. I support my country. If it comes to it, I will fight for my country. We need to promote preparedness. Have a lovely day. The sun is shining. Stay safe. If you like my content, consider subscribing. Consider giving us a thumbs up. Hit the notification bell and I will see you soon. Thank you.